Welcome, everyone, to the end of the first half of the AT&T Champ Car World Series season. Race 12 of 24 today from Lexington, Ohio. The Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course once again hosting a round of the IndyCar World Championship. We missed being here back in 2022 and 2023. 2 years removed, it's time to go racing once again in Ohio. Welcome everyone to ABN Sports coverage of the AT&T Champ Car World Series and the IndyCar World Championship all season long. It's been a very wild weekend. We had the Champ Car Challenger Series race yesterday at Charlotte Motor Speedway, which was a very rough, a very tumbling race in Charlotte in North Carolina there yesterday afternoon. We're expecting something a lot different here today. Red Wall, Firestone, Firewall tires on these cars. It will be a matter of strategy and ultimate maneuvering that brings drivers to the front of the field today. Hazel Leon showed that yesterday in qualifying, but will start 11th, a 10th-place grid drop from an engine failure in Chicago just a week ago. After scoring pole position, still scored the point for pole position, just won't be able to start at the front of the field. It will be Natalia Velisevich that starts front and center in today's field alongside Mia Valdez. BK Glover and Nicole Lechty sit in row number 2. Row 3, you'll find Alicia Kovalkiewicz and Artyom Kozlov, our Nazareth race winner, sitting in row 3 there in P6. Sakura Ishibashi, Stephanie Porter-Kelly, they sit in row number 4, and your top 10 is rounded out by Juliet Takani and Matthias Michelin. So both Arrowhead Racing cars, 2 of the 3 Stryker Motorsports cars, 2 of the 3 Verizon Team Impulse cars, 2 Cat Devil Racing cars, an Atomic Autosport car, and a Red Bull Highlight Racing car line up in your top 10. Just outside the top 10 is where you'll find Hazel Leon, as we mentioned, starting 11th, alongside the second Red Bull Highlight Racing car of Simona Leroux. Atomic Autosports' Evangeline Porter and Ludwig Motorsports' Wyatt Jones sit in row number 7. Porter comes in as the championship leader here today after another great performance in Chicago last weekend. We'll have to do so from a little bit further down the order, starting 13th today. Catherine Hart, after winning for the first time in Nazareth, will try to return to victory lane from 8th row on the grid from 15th, alongside Elise Alexander. Row 9 is where you'll find Andrew Draco and Kage Kobayashi. Row 10, the top 20, will be rounded out by Dragon Motorsports' Cameron Jackson and the second Vontair Motorsports car of Marcus Petrovich. Shufan Zhang and Thomas Rogers sit in row 11, just outside the top 20. Asher Crane and Esther Hofson sit in row number 12. The last of the 13 rows in the grid will be filled out by Bianca Lucero and Anastasius von Sonim. So 26 cars, Red Wall, Firestone, Firehawk tires, a lot of strategy calls to make as we go into this season. It's been a very competitive season so far. Through the first 11 races of the season, we've had 10 different race winners. Thomas Rogers, the only repeat winner, he won the first 2 races of the season. Then we had Kobayashi with a race win, the second race in Melbourne. Kenny Kinoshita won in Mexico City for the second year in a row. BK Glover won for the first time in a while. He won at home in Texas. Cameron Jackson broke a nearly 4-year winless drought to win at Nashville. Mia Valdez came back and finally got a race win in Homestead, Miami. Wyatt Jones, the Indy 500 champion, winning this year at the Brickyard. Then Artyom Kozlov, Catherine Hart, and Andrew Draco, most recently winning last weekend in Chicago, giving us a very wild run. And again, those at the top of the board aren't the ones that have been the flashiest. You know, Evangeline Porter, not a race winner yet this season, but the most consistent. You look at the podiums, the top 5, the top 10s. Porter's been there just about every race so far this season. She's going to try to do so again here today. But before we get to all of that in the 85 laps of racing, let's send it trackside for those most famous words.
Drivers, start your engines!
26 Champ Car World Series machines roar to life here in northern Ohio. About an hour north and northeast to the state capital of Columbus. Due east of Honda's Development Center in Marysville, Ohio. This is home turf for Honda since we can't go to Mategi. And it's very important to them to try to get some results here. It's going to be difficult for them, though. It is Ford and Chevrolet and Toyota in the top four. Ford all over the front row, trying to make magic happen. The day you saw a little slow on the getaway for Anastasius von Sohn, and keep an eye on that 76 machine. And actually, I don't think it's von Sohn, it was Hofson that did not get going. That's why von Sohn was slow, because Hofson did not get going. And that's one of the Hondas, two of the Hondas at the back of the field affected by that. Just look through the field trying to find the best qualified Honda car. They're low on the list right now. Dragon Motorsports' Cameron Jackson is the highest qualified in 19th. So it has been a struggle for the Honda teams getting things off the ground here. And now Esther Hofson not able to get going. Going to be a gut punch here today. 85 laps, about 191 miles here at Mid-Ohio. 2.24 mile road course. We'll set the stage for the end of the first half. After today, there'll be 12 races remaining. We head to Kentucky next weekend for a doubleheader for the Champ Car Challenger Series and the Champ Car World Series. But it's almost time to get to racing in the Midwest. The Ford Ranger, that Raptor pace truck, will pull into pit lane, and 25 Champ Car machines will get going here today. The Honda Grand Prix of Ohio is underway. We're racing in the heartland. Good getaway from Velisevich and Valdez, the front row. Late start, good start for the front row. Glover got checked up on the inside lane. Now under threat from Nicole Lectie, the defending world champion. Battling around through the keyhole. Now down towards the end of the hill in turn 4. Over this kink of turn 3. Glover held on to 3rd. Lectie holds on to 4th, but it is an absolute gaggle of cars the further on we look. That is Sakura Ishibashi battling with Artyom Kozlov. That is 4th. And Ishibashi's got it. Another battle there. It's Kovalevich and Porter Kelly. Everyone running, though, to complete lap number 1 of 85. Trying to make the most of these Firestone Firehawk tires as traffic gives way. Esther Hofson still on pit lane, not mobile at the moment. Hopefully Hofson can get going here. Not starting this race means no points at all. And that's something the 2018 cannot afford at this part of the season. There's Matthias Michelin in 9th, Julia Takani in 10th. Hazel Leon still where she started in 11th. Side by side still Wyatt Jones and Simona LaRoe out of the keyhole. And LaRoe's got the advantage, and so will Porter. Good run out of the keyhole for Porter. Gonna make Jones pay for that slow getaway and clears him going into turn 4. Good run there for Porter. And now up the hill. Porter, the Cincinnati, Ohio resident. This is about as close to a home race as she can get in her home state. Both the very pronounced racetracks have seen racing in Champ Car history. Northern Ohio, Mid-Ohio, and then the other track currently not in use, temporary, the Burke Lakefront Airport in Cleveland. Around the final corner, you see the undulating racetrack, unrelenting. I believe Esther Hofson I do have to make the belief that Esterhofsen will not take the start here in this race. Natalia Velisevich in the free there. Actually, there's Esterhofsen right there. Hofsen is out and running for the first time. Hofsen now officially on the track, joins the rest of the field to give us 26 cars rolling in Mid-Ohio. Velisevich there leading the way ahead of Mia Valdez. BK Glover giving pursuit in third. Nicole Lechty sitting in the fourth spot ahead of Sakura Ishibashi, who's top 5. Kozlov, Kovalkiewicz, Porter Kelly, Michelin Takani round out your top 10 at this point in time. Then it's Leroux in 12th behind Leon. Porter in 13th, Wyatt Jones down to 14th place, Catherine Hart in 15th, Elise Alexander 16th over Andrew Draco, the Chicago race winner. Kage Kobayashi, Thomas Rogers, Marcus Petrovich. Sorry, Petrovich falling down a spot behind Cameron Jackson as Von Sodens moved up 2 spots ahead of Lucero and ahead of Crane, now trying to chase down the Taiwanese driver Shifan Zhang. Velisevich has been in the clear here. After striking at the front of the field, did not get the point for pole position. That still went to Leon, who was fastest in practice, in qualifying, I should say. But Velisevich has looked strong all weekend as well. Going right now a 1.6 second gap over Mia Valdez. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, there you go. Down the last corner, across start finish line is Velisevich, who is looking outstanding. You see Esterhofsen just now coming out of the keyhole in danger of going yet another lap down. Already a full 2 laps down, in danger of going third. See all the wildlife there here in Mid-Ohio. Velisevich using all the racetrack here. Has the ability to, and right now just waltzing forward. Valdez was a little bit quicker that last lap by about a 10th. So trying to crawl back in here, knowing right now that she's got BK Glover managed, but Glover looking strong as well. Lechty top 4, Ishibashi trying to have a good recovery drive here, sitting 5th at the moment as things stand. Ahead of Artyom Kozlov. It's not been a season to remember for Cat Devil Racing or really for Verizon Team Impulse. Despite how successful the team has been individually, all 3 drivers have had race wins, 4 race wins for the team so far in 2024. It just feels like there's a lot missing for that team. Up right now, sitting in the 6th spot, watching as her former teammate Sakura Ishibashi waltzes away. These two's careers, Ishibashi and Kozlov, irreversibly intertwined at this point, with Kozlov driving what was Ishibashi's car for so many years. Look at that. Nicole Lechty just up ahead in 4th place. Doing a really good job closing in on Glover and Valdez, applying the pressure here, and it's really thrown Valdez off once again, as now Velisevich pulling away even more. A little loose there though for Lechty around turn 1. Cost a little bit of time. This is a track for some of our newer Champ Car fans that maybe aren't super intimate or familiar with the Mid-Ohio Sports Car course. This is a racetrack that relies on bravery and strategic outwitting more than it does just absolute door-to-door, bumper-to-bumper, fender-to-fender, wing-to-wing, side-pod-to-side pod action. You kind of got to be smart with it. here at Mid-Ohio. Or be brave. Be very, very brave. There's the fastest drivers in the world, and they're showing it. But when the margins are super thin, you have to find alternate ways to make up ground, make up passes, and these red wall tires will do just that to help the drivers and teams out by opening up those windows a little bit more. Letty's still struggling to get back in to where she was before with Glover and Valdez. Glover just shadowing that 34, trying to find a good spot to make a pass. Gap is now 3.3 seconds. Valisevich is gone right now. 108.205 last lap versus 108.8 last lap for Valdez. Valisevich has got something figured out. Juvenile also not in a great spot right now either, as Von Sonnen sits under pressure from Crane. At the back of the field here, Shufin Jinks at a 110. Full 2 seconds off the pace at the moment. It kind of explains just sort of how bad it is right now for these three cars. Two of them Hondas, one of them Chevrolet. In the relegation battle, as things really could just kind of rage on throughout the field. Sonnen started this race 26th. Got a spot immediately thanks to Esther Hobson's failure to start this race. Hobson now back on track, but 2 laps down and in danger of going 3. Crane had it look to the inside there in turn 1, couldn't stick it, and will lose a spot to Bianca Lucero. You see the gap down to Shufin Zhang and Marcus Petrovich there, just rolling back up through the field. There's Jackson, there's Rogers, there's Kobayashi, there's Draco still in 17th, and not really in any threatening capacity to Alexander and Hart, who duke it out still for that 15th spot. Wyatt Jones on the tail still of Evangeline Porter, who is still trying to make inroads on the 12 of Simona Leroux. Completing lap number 9 onto lap 10 now. Here in Mid-Ohio, there's Valisevich, Porter Kelly in that group. All trying to chase down. This is Artem Kozlov they're trying to chase down. That 6th spot, Ishibashi now right there with Lechty. And as I think it's becoming clear that Mia Valdez may have a struggle here with the first pit window getting ready to open up here soon. Valdez may be in trouble of losing 2nd place, and losing more than just 2nd place when that first pit window arrives. Not having a great time with the red wall alternate compound tires. Softer, but wear a lot quicker. Provide a lot more initial grip and then fall off as the run goes on. Pretty hard with a lot of graining, some blistering. Things that will really put racing in the driver's hands, but makes it a massive handful. Valisevich in the 1:8.4 range. Valdez picking it up a little bit, 1:8.7, but still slower. Now 4 seconds the gap. Valisevich, one of the drivers that have yet to win a race this season. Same with Lechty, same with Ishibashi, Kovalkiewicz, Porter Kelly, Michelin, Takani. All of them have yet to win a race this season. Look at Valdez and Glover and Kozlov. They have won a race, but that's only 3 of the top 10 at the moment in a season that has had 10 different winners in 11 races so far. This is race 12. There's been no major breakout start this season. Now Valdez trying to push the pace here to try to pull away from Glover and Lecty and company. Starting and now sitting on lap 12. Oh, Lecty in trouble. Overdrove turn 4. Under pressure now from Ishibashi, but holds on at the moment. Slight mistake there from Lecty, costing some time. Everyone trying to find ways around to gain position here. And you see where Velisevich was, just up the hill already. Looking pretty good so far. Very undulated racetrack this one is here in Mid-Ohio. Vertical G-forces in addition to the lateral G-forces everyone feels typically. This track's not been repaved for quite a while, so a lot of bumps, a lot of abrasiveness to this racetrack, which will also increase that tire wear, make it a little bit more difficult. Caught right back up to the bumper of Glover. Kind of shows where Valdez is at pace-wise to be caught up so quickly. Velisevich once again back in the saddle, 1:8.2, which is an insane lap time at this point with the tires that are supposed to be cliffing off pretty hard. Sweet spot's been found though for Velisevich, 1:8.2, 1:8.7. 68.7 second lap for Valdez, so still 4 to 6 cents slower for Valdez to Velisevich. See what that last lap looks like here. 1:8.5 versus 1:9.1 for Valdez. Not a great lap. The issue for Velisevich that she's going to be encountering lap traffic. That's Esther Hofstead right there. And there's Velisevich in the same screenshot for a moment. That's going to hurt Velisevich quite a bit here. She's got 5 seconds plus in hand. An interesting question to ask when Velisevich will come down pit lane for the first time to get some fresh tires. 70 liters, 18.5 gallons. Well, you wouldn't even probably need that much fuel because of how the tires are. This is a very tire dependent racetrack, so you wouldn't use your full 18.5 gallon fuel tank to get through a full set of tires. You wouldn't imagine anyway. Could be wrong. I expecting the sim to go too off much longer. 5.8 seconds between first and second place. Velisevich on a rocket ship. Mia Valdez a 1.9 flat. It's still slower than Glover, slower than Lecty, slower than Ishibashi here. And they see more of the group there. That's Kozlov, Kovalkiewicz, Porter Kelly, Michelin, Takani in 10th, Leon 11th still, LaRoe. Still a struggle trying to catch up. That's Porter and Wyatt Jones. Also in the 1.8.4, 1.8.6 range, so they're faster too. They're on leader's pace. This is normally a pretty easy 3-stop race, and we're expecting something similar here today. Though, tire wear could be a pretty big factor. And you see partly cloudy skies, a lot more sunshine today than what there was yesterday when it rained in qualifying and left us really with only Q1 to determine the starting grid. It also means that drivers did not have really much of a chance to try to improve their qualifying position for a very track position important race. There's Porter Kelly in 8th place at the moment. Was looking to try to find a way around Alicia Golwakevich. Couldn't really find one that time around. You see everyone really nose to tail here behind Valdez, trying to find a way around the 34, who has been the roadblock here. But you see where Velisevich is at now, 109.7. That's an abysmal final lap time there for Velisevich, 109.0. So now it's a 7/10 swing in the favor of Valdez and company due to that lap traffic. And here comes Valdez. Here's Velisevich here on Esther Hofson, trying to find a way around the 28 to put Hofson a 3rd lap down. So one of the Hondas that were struggling mightily this weekend. And now it's causing Velisevich to struggle. Because Hofson has a little bit fresher tires to put the power down a little bit easier. Oh, here it goes. Velisevich looks to the inside there. Oh! Whoa, was that a tag to the wall for Velisevich? That is damage on the front wing of the 7. Not a ton of damage, but some. Noticeable enough. And there's the rest of the field that might be getting ready to smell blood in the water. The rest of the field rolling their way down. Lap 18 of 85. 68 laps to go in this race. Here comes pit stops. That's Valdez in and Velisevich in. Some of the leaders coming down pit lane. This will give Glover the race lead. So new leader, BK Glover, who stays out ahead of Lecty and Ishibashi. So pit stops underway. And this will be a slower stop for Velisevich as they try to get that car taken care of after that tag of the wall, approaching the final corners behind Esther Hofson. That is 3 of Kozlov in pit lane. There is Michelin in pit lane. That's Leroux, Hart, Alexander. The 21 of Petrovich, the 20 of Zhang, the 2 of Rogers. There is 76 of Von Sonen. Pit window is open, and that's interesting because that means that we're leaning towards a 4-stop race with the tire wear issue going on. Very interesting situation to be in right now. So it looks like Glover's going to come in this time. So will Ishibashi. It will give Lecty the race lead. So another new race leader. And she's one of the only ones to stay out here. It's Wyatt Jones that stays out as well. Avoiding what would normally be a very busy pit lane on this second pass through. That is Valdez. That's Kozlov. Where is Velisevich? There's Velisevich, really far back now. Valdez ahead of Kozlov here. And this is going to be very interesting on pit exit. Valdez will not be race leader. It'll be Glover and Ishibashi ahead. Valdez in 3rd. Then Porter Kelly, Kozlov, Takani, Hazel Leon, Michelin, maybe side by side with Kovalkiewicz out of the keyhole. Kovalkiewicz will defend that spot. That was Kovalkiewicz on pit exit. Then you have Lisevich, who's already down the order, Porter and Leroux. So this is going to be very interesting to see. That is Zhang getting around Crane, but still behind Von Sonen, with Lucero now on an island. That is Lechty in pit lane. There's Wyatt Jones on pit lane. Esther Hobson also on pit lane here. Glover around the final couple corners here, set to inherit the race lead. Ishibashi, Valdez just behind. Actually, no, Lechty. Nicole Lechty stays in the race lead by a margin. That's wild. Wyatt Jones comes out behind Leon, side by side. Kozlov versus Takani. Takani slow out of the keyhole. Not a great exit out of turn 2, or exit out of turn 3, excuse me. No, sorry, it is turn 2. Now side by side with Leon. Down turns turn 4. It's going to be in the favor of Leon. Yes, it will. She's going to strong arm her way around the 95 of Takani. That is for the 8th spot. Leon now up 3 spots. Now Wyatt Jones, to his credit, still gained, was 14th going into the pit stop window. Now sits in 10th, ahead of Kovalkiewicz, ahead of Michelin. Oh, side by side here, Michelin and Kovalkiewicz, the 96 and 99. Oh, and Kovalkiewicz strong arm there by Michelin and by Felicevich there. Oh, trouble there even still for Felicevich, stuck on the inside lane where it's super bumpy, near where that curbing is. Lose now another spot to Porter and maybe Leroux. Leroux a little bit over ambitious though. And will stay in 13th place instead. Wyatt Jones up to 9th, Michelin now in 10th. As the field cycles through, Lechty now leads. Glover, Ishibashi, Valdez, and Porter Kelly, top 5, all very close together. And there is Artyom Kozlov as well in 6th. And then you have the spacing between Kozlov and Leon. Lisevich led the first 17 laps of this race. 1 lap led by BK Glover. And Lechty now in control of this race. And it's a very close contest now. And with Lisevich having that contact with the wall and now being set now out of the top 10. Pretty open ball game now. Esther Hobson up the road as well. Will be a factor for these leaders to come across when the time comes. Out front here to start lap 24 of 85, having led 5 laps of this race so far. Glover still in tow. Those fresh tires beginning to lose their luster a little bit. Wyatt Jones, he's gotten around a couple cars here. That's Michelin still in the top 10. That's Felicevich in 11th now. Porter in 12th. after they got around Alicia Kovalkiewicz. Simona Leroux 14th. And now you've got some of the cars trying to catch up with Draco, Hart, Alexander, and Rogers trying to make their way into the main group. Well, really the main two groups in this field. Kaki Kobayashi ahead of Cameron Jackson, then Marcus Petrus there in 21st. And yeah, this little battle here. Two cars in it, Von Sonen and Crane, Lucero, and then Schiff and Jane now in the 25th spot after having to make another pit stop. So not where Zhang wanted to be. Esther Hofson sitting right now, 26th and still 2 laps down, but there's leaders just behind as things run around here. 25 laps is what we're on right now. Lechty hitting her stride now at the front of the field. The defending world champions had anything but a great start of the season so far. Would really like a fresh start to get through everything here. Again on Hofson here, and it's going to be very interesting to see because obviously Velisevich making contact with the wall was a direct byproduct of trying to find a way around Hofson. We'll see if Lechty's got better inkling on how to handle the lap traffic here and also handle the pressure being shadowed by several other cars here. Not something been consistent, but that's about to change pretty big way. Lechty ended up in a net positive situation in Chicago last weekend. Strategy was very important there as well on the streets of Grant Park. Across the start finish line, lap times are not a lot slower last lap because they just got to Hobson. It will not be so gratuitous and fortunate this time around. Kink at turn 3 and now down towards turn 4. Let's come up close. Start finish line now once again. This time slower that time, 109.0 there for Lechty behind Esther Hofson. Through the keyhole, turn 2. Now down towards turn 3. Turn 4. This tight complex up the hill. 4, 5. And turn 6. Quickly through Thunder Valley. Turn 11. Turn 12. Turn 13, the final corner of the lap. Still struggling here at the end of lap 30 to try to get around Hobson. This is as close as you could possibly get to the gearbox of another car without touching them. And Lechty's right there. Struggles to keep following out of turn 1. Lap 31. You can tell Hobson's still controlling the pace here at the moment. She's still 2 laps down, trying to stay that way. Trying to avoid going 3 laps down. Lechty, oh, this is going to be interesting. Looks to the inside. We know how bumpy that inside of turn 1 is, so it's going to be very unlucky. Wrong place to make that move. Here comes Glover and Ishibashi. Glover clears. Ooh, Ishibashi though, side by side. Gonna be tricky. So Glover now leads this race. Lechty gonna try to take back second. Meanwhile, Porter Kelly trying to get around Valdez for 4th. All 5 cars really close together because there's Leon, there's Kozlov, there's Takani. All of them are in this. Porter Kelly does muscle around the 34 of Valdez. Side by side, Kozlov, Leon. Through the S's, and it's Leon that gets the advantage over the Russian. Wow. A lot of passes just traded hands in one motion there. Takani still sitting stationary in 8th place. Jones in 9th. Michelin top 10 still. Lot popped off there and changed that last lap. Now it's Glover's chance to take a shot at Esther Hofson. New race leader for the 2nd time today is the number 6 Verizon Team Impulse Toyota. Here we go. Oh, Glover with a really good run. Out of the keyhole now into turn 4. So Hobson does have the preferred line right here. Oh, this is going to be very treacherous, very tricky. Glover needs to make sure he asserts this pass, and he does. Massive stuff. To put Hobson a third lap down and additionally give himself a buffer. Up the hill now. To 11, 12, and 13, the final corners of the lap. Pit stops not far away for the second time. If the first window's any indication, about 36 should be when we start seeing cars come down pit lane. Glover now has the cleanest real estate of anyone in the top 10. Takani battling further behind with Kozlov. Almost clear Kozlov there too. And there's Wyatt Jones as well. He's going to poach a position off of Takani, who did not get a get away out of the keyhole. Going to try hard to stay side by side there. Wyatt Jones has the advantage, has the preferred line through most of these S's. And couldn't clear. Could not get clear of the 95. Takani going to try to wheel and deal this one. Wyatt Jones eventually does get it. Before going through turn number 9. This is now turn 10. We're going to be ready to face here. Through 11, 12, and 13. Wyatt Jones up to 8th place. Kelly looks around for a chance to go after Sakura Ishibashi. It did not happen there. And Glover's immediately opened over a second advantage over Lexington Company. Lap 35 underway. Glover now leading. He has led 4 laps in this race so far. Blisswich led 17, basically the entire first 17 laps of this race before making her first pit stop. Nicole Lechty's led 13. Glover's led 4 now. Trying to find a way around the 28 desperately. This is where fortune favors the bold and the brave. Glover got around in a very tight spot and forced the way through. Lefty will have to do the same. Find a way around Hobson here. Glover has pulled a 1.6 second advantage at this point in this race. Oh, a little bit of a bobble there by Ishibashi. Almost checked up Porter-Kelly. It did check up Porter-Kelly, who's now under threat once again from Valdez. Oh, and Valdez gave just enough space for Porter-Kelly to make it through that corner, but not much else. Here comes Leon. Can't race teammates working together. They're going to duke it out, and Porter-Kelly's not going to give up that fight super easy. He's now under threat from Ishibashi here. Pressure is on. Now it's becoming a battle for second place once again, as it was with Felicevich. Only now, there isn't any other impediments for Glover to be in the way or have to work his way through. This is a pit stop for Glover, not this lap. See anyone else coming down pit lane this time. Yeah, Valdez. Valdez will take that dive. So will Leon, Kozlov, Porter, Michelin. That is Simona Leroux also. Andrew Draco, Catherine Hart, Lisa Alexander, Thomas Rogers stays out. Felicevich comes down pit lane and she's dropped quite a lot. Dropped down to 18th place. Petrich also comes in. 21 car. This Glover and Schufenjang actually not far away from being a problem there for BK Glover. Some significant work though for Glover, who's gonna have to make a pit stop here shortly. There's Schufenjang, how close exactly Glover is to the 20 car. Stays out another lap as Schufenjang comes in. I believe that was also Von Sonnen and Lucero that came down pit lane. So for a moment, there'll be a lap down. That is Velisevich just now coming out of pit lane, staying on the lead lap. Remember, she pit from 18th. And this could be a problem for Glover if Velisevich holds him up. Space for Lechty and Porter Kelly and Wyatt Jones to try to gain some inroads here. And Velisevich will 100% hold up Glover here. He's going to make a pit stop anyway, so it's not really much of a fight worth taking. Still trying to find a way around on the outside. Importantly, got to the outside of Velisevich in the grass though. Ooh, that was sketchy. And that's why caution's out. Caution has come out. So everyone being put to a pause. Let's see if I can get you an explanation why. Bianca Lucero. Lucero had just come out of pit lane. What happened to the 88 camp? I see anything spectacular happens here to Bianca Lucero, the San Marinese driver. Not sure what is going on here. This is very interesting. As Lucero comes down pit lane this time, I believe. Yeah, Lucero comes down pit lane this time. Actually, it may not be Lucero. Yeah, it's not Lucero. Yeah, Lucero, because Lucero never came out pit lane. What has happened here to the pace car? See if we can figure out when the lights come on. Lights are already on. When do the lights come on though for the first time? Come out here. Let's browse and peruse through our several different cameras that we got available to us. What's going on there? Saw contact between Hofston and Lucero on pit lane, but that's in pit lane. Not seeing anything saying that there should be a caution other than what we're seeing right now. And now the field resets. By the way, Hofston's still out on the racetrack. As more cars come out of pit lane. Lucero's still on pit lane though. Whoa, that's Thomas Rogers. What happened to the 20? What happened to the 2 car? Oh, he never even made it back to pit lane. Oh no. That's even more trouble for Rogers, who had gained several positions in this race. That's absolutely horrific for Thomas Rogers. Sonnen was pinned behind the pace car here. Then Shufin Zhang and then Sakura Ishibashi, your new race leader. As we approach the end of the halfway point of this race, I should say. The end of the first half of this race. Step aside for about 90 seconds and we'll be back and we'll go over the restart order here in Mid-Ohio. The Honda Grand Prix of Ohio comes back after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to the Honda Grand Prix of Ohio. Under our first caution of the day. We have a retirement. Bianca Lucero officially out of this race following contact with Esther Hofston on pit lane. Thomas Rogers had to be basically refired after a technical issue on the final half of the lap, thankfully close to pit entry to get that refired. Whoa, what's going on here? Something wrong with Takani, who was set to line up second place on the grid, may be in trouble. Because it was Ishibashi, Julia Takani, Alicia Kovalkiewicz, and then the 34 Mia Valdez, Artyom Kozlov, Matthias Michelin in 6th. Evangeline Porter, Andrew Draco, top 8, top 9, Petrovic. 10th place is Natalia Velisevich, stuck behind Esther Hofston at the moment. Hazel Yan in 11th. 12th place, Simona Leroux. 13th place, Catherine Hart. 14th place, Elise Alexander. Then it's BK Glover, Nicole Lechty, 2 of the race leaders in this race so far. Sitting 15th and 16th ahead of Wyatt Jones. Wyatt Jones, Stephanie Porter Kelly. Kage Kobayashi, Cameron Jackson, there's Asher Crane, there's Thomas Rogers, 22nd in the order, with a couple cars stuck out of the way in Stevens von Sonnen and Shufin J. Excuse me. So, field will take to the restart here. It looks like Takani trying to stay out of the way to go to pit lane, and that's going to move everyone behind Ishibashi up a spot. Here we go. Green flag in the air. Away we go. And von Sonnen got an immediate lead start here. Here we go. Ishibashi tried to take a shot at Shufin. It did not work out, but Kovalkiewicz was not close enough to make it happen either. Under threat here. That is Kozlov trying to get around the 34 of Valdez. Got around momentarily, but got a little bit too greedy. Also trying to get around Kovalkiewicz, and now will lose both spots back as they go through turn 3. That run out of the keyhole, so important. Kovalkiewicz got it. Valdez trying to get around, and in the favorable line here. Meanwhile, further behind, that is Michelin, Draco, Porter, all in the mix. And Kozlov does force their way forward, force their way into the 3rd spot. Michelin in 5th, behind Valdez. Then it's Draco, Porter. There's Petrovic, Hofson there at 25th, still sitting 3 laps down. As of right now, the only car off the lead lap and in running in this race, with Bianca Lucero retiring. As Hazel Leon in 10th ahead of Simona Leroux. Everyone's spreading out through the field. Cameron Jackson trying to find a way around Astrid Crane. There is Takani, who is back out on the racetrack after resolving that issue. Don't know what that issue was that forced a pit stop and basically a withdrawal from 2nd place on the road. But now Takani on an island. It is Ishibashi sitting front of the field at the moment, but under threat now from the 96 of Alicia Kovalkiewicz. And here we go, 3rd place battle once again between the 34 and the 3. Cat Double Racing versus Verizon Team Impulse, still side by side through turn 10. Ooh, really close battling there. 11, 12, and 13 now await side by side for both cars there. Kozlov gets ahead. Here comes Michelin. Michelin firing around. Here comes Porter. Oh, it's going to be really close here. Ooh. Valdez stays just ahead of Michelin. Here comes Alicia Kovalkiewicz to the inside, trying to find a way around. Battle for the race lead, and it will be in favor of Ishibashi. Here comes Kozlov for 2nd. Around the Polish driver. Kozlov looking at 2nd place, now looking at her former teammate. Teammates turned adversaries. As Kozlov takes 2nd place, Valdez sits in 4th. Battle here between Michelin, Porter, Draco, all center of the attention here. That is for the 5th spot. And here comes Porter, looking for a way around the 99 of Michelin. Oh, a little bit of contact between the 81 and the 99 as well. The 99 shoved way offline, entering 11. Somehow keeps it from going into the grass after losing just 2 spots. Stays ahead of Petrovic in 8th. So Michelin from 5th to 7th on a lap. Now everyone getting physical. Here we go. Kozlov to the front. Lap traffic being a huge impetus here, and Kovalkiewicz just sent it around Ishibashi on the inside that time. Would not be denied that time around Ishibashi, but now they've got to chase down the 3 of Kozlov, who's trying to find a way around the 20 and the 76, who are desperately trying to stay on the lead lap here. Everyone throwing hands here in Mid-Ohio. 7 laps left for Ishibashi. Kozlov will lead their first lap here coming around if they can hold on to it. Kovalkiewicz, though, would like to have a word with Kozlov. Valdez lurks in 4th. Draco up to 5th. Kozlov will get a lap led here, but stuck behind lap traffic at the moment. Car in pit lane, that is Crane, and the caution comes out, and it will keep the 76 and the 20 on the lead lap. Kozlov leads the caution, and Crane is the one to look at for the cause of the yellow. As Von Sonnen and the 20 of Shufenjang make their way around, this bails out Takani. Let's see what happened to Crane. This is further back in the field, staying ahead of Cameron Jackson at the moment, and this is where trouble begins. Uh-oh. 3 wide. Oh no. Huge problem. This not be great for either of these cars. Oh! Huge contact there. Crane goes up and over. Huge contact for Thomas Rogers as well. And that could be 2 cars out of this race immediately. But a saving grace for Takani, who had to pit for an issue coming to green on that first caution. And it saved the 20 and the 76, who were hoping a caution would come out, and it did. So they will join the back of the field here. The caution flies for the second time here in Mid-Ohio. Artyom Kozlov leads. But we're expecting pit stops here. 2 pit stop race from here. We'll see what happens as we follow along. So pit stops underway. So everyone in pit lane now. Tight quarters there. Kozlov comes out ahead. The contact there between the 99, 96 and the 78 exiting pit lane. He'll gain a couple spots there. With some work to do. See, everyone takes the chance to come down pit lane. That leaves Esther Hofson all alone now at the front of the field once again. Crane officially out of this race. You saw, though, the 2 of Thomas Rogers still rolling. Ahead of Kobayashi, the 76 of Von Sonnen, the 20 of Shufenjang, and the 19 of Cameron Jackson, who also had a piece in the caution there. Artyom Kozlov, though, stays front of the field. Very interesting, this battle that comes up here is Kozlov, Ishibashi, Andrew Draco, top 3. We're going to step aside for a word from our local partners here for all ABN stations in the U.S. Honda Grand Prix of Ohio under caution for the second time following a bad, nasty crash between Asher Crane and Thomas Rogers. We'll come back in a couple minutes after these words. Welcome back, everyone, to the Honda Grand Prix of Ohio here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Second caution getting ready to come to a close here in this race, the 12th of 24. Coming back from the break, a couple of updates. Obviously, Asher Crane out of this race. We saw that before the break. Bianca Lucero out. Alicia Kovalkiewicz, a 10-place grid penalty an engine failure on pit lane. Kovalkiewicz out of this race as the third retirement for the 96 team. After having a great start, it comes to an end on lap 53. It is Artyom Kozlov that leads the way over Andrew Draco, Sakura Ishibashi, Mia Valdez, and Evangeline Porter, your top 5. Nicole Lecty sits top 6, Wyatt Jones 7th. Then it's Marcus Petrovic, Stephanie Porter-Kelly, and Catherine Hart, your top 10. 23 cars still running. Esther Hofson 3 laps down. The other 22 cars on the lead lap. Andrew Draco had to come back down pit lane. He's now at the tail end of the field. A loose wheel on pit lane has moved that 13 car from being near the front of the field in third, was where he came down pit lane as, down to 22nd position. The Ford Raptor pace truck rolls around turn number 9, makes its way towards turn 10 through Thunder Valley with Kozlov, Ishibashi, and Mia Valdez, your top 3. .23 cars still rolling, coming to 32 laps to go, which means we're going to have a 1 pit stop run to the finish if it stays green. Pace car pulls in. Green flag flies, away we go. Racing here in Mid-Ohio once again after a second restart. Who's got an answer for Artyom Kozlov? Through turn 1, now looking towards the keyhole of turn 2. It is a absolute jam-packed session here. Michelin looks to the inside of Glover in the keyhole, but the inside lane not great on the run out. Lise Alexander learning that the hard way as well. Here comes the 77 of Leroux, trying to make inroads around both the 32 and the 99. Leon and Michelin blocking up Lucero and Takani. Catherine Hart stays ahead of Glover there. Now rolling through the S's. Glover trying to force his way through, one of the faster cars in the field, but not anywhere close to the lead where he had for 10 laps. Multiple different race leaders. Kozlov the most recent. Ishibashi's got 7 laps led. Lecty with 13. Glover with 10. 17 for the driver that started the front of the field this afternoon, Natalia Velisevic. Keith to the inside. That's Porter-Kelly on Petrovic through turn 1. It's not going to work out well for Porter-Kelly. And here comes the move by both Hart and by Glover. Here comes Leon to the inside lane as well, trying to clear before the exit of the keyhole like Kovalkiewicz did a few laps before. Doesn't work that time, so now Leon under threat, under fire once again, 2 by 2, because Takani and Leroux side by side just behind them. Michelin had the advantage. So theoretically should Leroux and Alexander. Up the hill now towards the S's. Still side by side, Leon and Michelin. Michelin forces his way around the outside through turn 9. And that's exactly how it ended up sorting out for Leroux and Alexander. They got around their side-by-side battles as well. Here it comes. Catherine Hart once again battling with Porter-Kelly through turn 12, down the hill through 13. Hart stays ahead. And again, very important to note here in this situation, Artyom Kozlov right now leading this race over Ishibashi, Valdez, and there's Evangeline Porter. Once again, started this race 13th on the grid. Now harassing the 34 of Valdez for another podium place. Lecty top 5, Wyatt Jones in 6th. Glover now up to 8th place. Those are your main 3 championship contenders here. Pulled away just a little bit there. Still very close in the group. Valdez letting Ishibashi and Kozlov separate themselves just a little bit. Porter would love to get around here. But even so, once again, Porter staying ahead of most of her championship adversaries, and handily so. Lechty separating Porter from Wyatt Jones. Porter had a good finish at Chicago last week. Obviously, Lechty finished second, Glover finished third, Draco won that race. And Porter has the championship lead, not because of race wins. No race wins this season. The second place at Texas was her first podium of the season. And realistically, her only podium of the season, just looking at the stats there. So Porter's not even really been a top 3 driver much of the season. It just, consistency has mattered so much that 81 camp. And it's mattering here as well. Really good exit out of the keyhole for the 81 camp, trying to find a way around the 34, trying to muscle a way around the 34. Good run, just not good enough to really get alongside the 34 into turn 4. Peeks to the inside. Oh, this is a really good opportunity for Porter. Forcing the pressure on Valdez. It's nothing there through the S's. Now into turn 9. 6 cars have separated themselves. There's Petrovic in 7th, well out of position. There's Glover in 8th. Porter Kelly up to 9th, ahead of Catherine Hart once again, who's trying to defend from Michelin to stay in the top 10. So a lot going on through the field here. Kozlov continues to lead as they roll through turn 1. Porter really needs to find a really good way to get a monumental roll out of the keyhole and set sights on that 3rd spot. Lechty applying some pressure now as well. Further back, Glover was under attack from Porter Kelly, but the inside of the keyhole not providing any fruits of labor for the 60 car, the 3-time world champion. Porter sitting right now, just watching the 34 shield from Ishibashi and Kozlov. Porter, really good run through turns 11, 12, and 13. Closing the gap down a little bit more. Now through 1. Well, that's a lot better through turn 1 though. Through the keyhole, turn 2. So important to try to get a good run here. Valdez able to match. Meanwhile, Ishibashi peeks to the inside. Slipstreaming through turn 3 to the kink. Just not close enough to try to make a move on Kozlov for that race lead back. Kozlov's now led 12 laps in this race. Ishibashi's led 7. So both of them have had a legitimate claim to the front of the field today. Mia Valdez, though, has not led a lap yet. Neither has Porter. Then you look at Lechty, who's led 13 laps today, trying to get her way back to the front of the field. The Iron Maiden in 5th right now as the top 4 spread out just a little bit as Valdez tries to open up a gap to the 81 of Porter. Wyatt Jones in 6th, just outside the top 5. In a really good spot right now for those final round of pit stops. There is Petrovic, Glover, Porter Kelly still in the mix. Everyone just extending outside the top 10. Michelin sitting in 11th, then it's the row. Then it's Hazel Leon. There's Julia Tacani, who recovered after having a loose wheel of her own, dropping down the 22nd at one point. Now back in the conversation at 14th. Elise Alexander in 15th. Then it's Natalia Milicevic, who's had trouble since the start. There's Thomas Rogers, who's been struggling. You see the damage on that 2 car. Andrew Draco, who's down at 22nd, trying to find a way around the 2 car, going into turn 4. And he sends it right on the inside of the 2 car. The 2-time race winner this season in that orange number 2. Not much of a factor, not much of a disturbance for Andrew Draco, who's made his way through, now up into the 17th spot since the restart. Masses of cars, congregations of 3 is where we're at the moment. Front 6 have pulled away, a decent gap over Petrovic, who is now under threat from Porter Kelly, who got around BK Glover. So Porter Kelly trying to find her way back towards the 7th position. That's where she's fighting right now. That's where Petrovic is holding station. Kobayashi, the other Vantara Racing car, sitting right now in 22nd. Last car on the lead lap. Out here we go. You see Porter Kelly in pit lane. Very interesting, 22 laps to go for Porter Kelly. It's gonna be a stretch if she can make it to the end. Excuse me, 23 laps to go, even more of a stretch. Cautions, and now we have a split. The front 2 have pulled away successfully from Mia Valdez, who has held up Evangeline Porter, Nicole Lechty, and Wyatt Jones for that 3rd spot. Cruising through the field as the top 6 wait for their last pit stops here in Mid-Ohio. Porter Kelly's taken what could be her last pit stop, which will be a very interesting sort of thing to track here. It will give BK Glover, who's lost a lot of pace, I should add, because he's tagged the wall. He's tagged the wall somewhere, battling with Leroux, so that gives a huge daybreak to Petrovic here, who has a wider margin now. Sort of in a similar situation to what it was for Velicevic. Glover's tagged the wall. You can see the front wing damage on the driver's right side. And here comes Leroux with a huge head of steam, but nowhere to go into turn 4. Meanwhile, Captain Hart back around Michelin. That is for 10th. And they're going to battle it hard through the S's. Connie in weight, sitting at 12th. Ahead of Leon, Alexander, and Velicevic further behind. And here comes pit stops, more of them. That was Lechty and Jones. Leaves top 4 out as they were. So some drivers cutting it close with 20 laps to go. Down the hill towards turn 4. This is realistically in the window. Stay out another lap. How about Valdez and Porter? They stay out as well. Petrovich now top 5. Does he make a final pit stop here? Coming to 19 to go. He stays out too. LaRoe now is released from behind BK Glover. Look just off in the distance there behind Felicevich. That's Andrew Draco, who's already closing in that gap big time. He is driving the wheels off of that number 13 car. And there's Von Sonnen. There's Rogers there. There's Shufan Zhang. Esther Hobson, who's 3 laps down. Cameron Jackson. There's Taka Kobayashi. This will be very interesting to follow along with. That is Takani, who's also come down pit lane. There's Glover, who also came down pit lane. Coming to 18 laps to go here in Mid-Ohio. Is it a pit stop? It is. Not for Ishibashi, who stays out an extra lap. Valdez and Porter, they do come in. How about Petrovich, the 21? He also peels into pit lane. Most of the rest of this group, though, they stay out, except for... No, just about everyone stays out regardless. How about Von Sonnen? He does come down pit lane. How about Rogers and company? Rogers stays out. No one in that group came down pit lane that time. Trying to make good time in this situation. Not super fast times there for Lecty or for Wyatt Jones. They were some of the ones that came in pit lane first. They're still being outdriven right now by Ishibashi and company. I don't think the undercut's working quite the way they were expecting. Ishibashi in pit lane now, put in a really hot lap. And here comes LaRoe and company. They all come in line astern. There's Lisvich, there's Draco, all coming in too. That is the 3 of Artyom Kozlov. How about Ishibashi, who leaves pit lane now? It comes out full head of steam ahead of Kozlov. That's where you're wondering, what was the measure gonna be? The measure was good enough. Porter defended from Lecty to hold on to 4th place. Wyatt Jones will take over 5th into the keyhole. Lecty tried to send it to the inside of turn 1. It did not work out. But you see Wyatt Jones is not clear. He's got damage on the left side of the front of that number 25. That front wing is bent. And this is a track where we know so much you need your aero configuration to be spotless. Wyatt Jones trying to muscle that car around. He's doing a good job of it so far. But that 25 car showing just a little bit of wear, a little bit of contact, as we see so often here at Mid-Ohio. Just behind them, Porter Kelly, sitting in the 7th spot. There's Simona LaRoe. There's the 31 of Catherine Hart. Michelin, Leon, Takani. Draco got around Petrovic as well. So he's firmly in the mix right now. As everyone sorts themselves out on the timing screen. That is BK Glover still ahead of Natalia Velisevic. They're both still ahead of Anastasia Sponsonen. Elise Alexander, a really bad pit stop there in the 11. Then you have the 2 of Thomas Rogers still wounded in this race. Ahead of Esther Hofson, who's 3 laps down. Still sitting at 33 cars running at this juncture. Here we go, battle for the race lead. Fresher tires for Ishibashi, but colder tires, having to get up to speed a little bit quicker. Kozlov right on the gearbox. Adversaries battling for the race win. Takes very little to remind Ishibashi about how her time at Team Impulse came to an end. Unceremoniously departed with the team and swiftly replaced it by the Russian ace, Artyom Kozlov. Kozlov went on to win the Indianapolis 500 in the 3 car. Last year, Ishibashi in the 33 car, looking for her first win here in 2024. Just 2 weeks after Kozlov grabbed their first win of the season in Nazareth. And of course, these two cross paths to duke it out for a race win here on an amazing picturesque road course in Northern Ohio. Valdez trying to hold on to that 3rd spot ahead of Evangeline Porter and the 25 of Wyatt Jones, who's under threat from the 78, the former world champion, the defending world champion of Nicole Lechting. There's Porter Kelly sitting in the 7th spot still, wondering if Porter Kelly can go the full 23-lap distance she needs to go to be able to survive and hold on to that top 10 spot. That's the gap from 2nd all the way down to 3rd place. Lap traffic not going to be a factor. That is Shufin Zhang battling with Kage Kobayashi, the Taiwanese driver, and the Japanese driver. Battling right now for 21st. They're still 5 seconds away from where you find Thomas Rogers and Cameron Jackson. Those two just swapped positions. Rogers still very wounded. Now down in 20th. Cameron Jackson, car 19, in position 19. Behind Anastasia Sponsonen, who sits 18th after starting this race 26th and last. 14 laps to go, coming to 13 to go. It's been a rocky year for Cat Devil Racing. 2 race wins, 1 for Kinoshita, 1 for Valdez, but the injury to Kinoshita at Homestead, Miami, really throwing a wrench in plans. Hazel Leon getting up to speed once again in Champ Car machinery as that fill-in for the rest of the season. Ishibashi still taking a rocky start of the season as well. We're almost there. This will be the end of the first half of the season. These two have a mile of time, 5 seconds the gap between Kozlov and Valdez. Not Valdez. Yeah, Valdez. Kozlov and Valdez. There you go. Several battles going on in this field. Battle for the race lead calming down just for a moment as Ishibashi's tires fire up in full force. Use that undercut to full effect as well. Porter's still trying to find a way around 34 of Valdez. But overall, not a bad situation to be in. Still right now gaining points on Wyatt Jones, trying to stay ahead of the 25, that Indy 500 race winner. Jones sitting in the 5th position as things stand. Lexington 6th, Porter Kelly right now in 7th. And then this gaggle of cars battling for 8th, what could be 7th, if Porter Kelly has to make a pit stop at the end of this race. Remember, she pit with 23 laps to go. Tires we've not seen go that far. Can Porter Kelly? That's the big question there. Otherwise, this could be a battle for the 7th spot between Leroux, Hart, Michelin. There's Leon also in the mix right now, sitting 11th. Takani in 12th. Draco up to 13th. Good recovery for him after being down 22nd. And then you have Marcus Petrovich right now sitting in the 14th position as things run. Kentucky again next weekend. Doubleheader, the Challenger Series coming up on Friday. Champ Car World Series, the Quaker State 300 on Saturday night from Kentucky Speedway. And look at the gap Ishibashi's pulled over the last couple laps here. Already pulled a 2nd gap. It looks like Kozlov trying to pull that gap back in here. Almost like trying to lasso an absolute bucking bronco to pull a gap back in from Ishibashi. She's trying to hit all of her marks here, rolling through the hills. See the gap all the way back, just looking backwards at the gap that they've opened up now, 6.5 from Valdez to Ishibashi. Valdez trying to hold on to a podium here, if at all possible. Porter not doing a lot to burn up her tires either, just kind of staying lockstep at the moment. Lefty trying to find a way around Wyatt Jones. A little bit of pressure there for 5th as they roll through. The turn 11, 12, and 13 that gets battle for 3rd, battle for 5th, all rages on. Cruising to the field here. Everyone's lost the luster of their Firestone tires for their last pit stop. There's Glover. There's Velisevich and Alexander. Alexander right now in 17th behind Velisevich. Von Sonnen in 18th. Cameron Jones trying to close in on the Kiernan Fashida Drive Force car. Thomas Rogers sitting 20th ahead of Kage Kobayashi and Shu Fencheng. This is all a battle for position as well, but Rogers the most wounded of the bunch. Less than 10 laps to go. We are now down to 8 laps to go. Clock is ticking down. Kozlov's not been able to close in much more than 0.7 of a second. And as you saw, Porter Kelly has made that final pit stop, could not make it to the end. And that's where she's going to drop all the way down. That is Von Sonnen in 18th. Porter Kelly stays ahead of the 76 car. Not how Porto Kelly expected this race to finish. And oh, here goes Shufenjing around Kobayashi. Kobayashi tried to pick a move around the 2 of Thomas Rogers. Did not pan out in turn 1. We do expect the leaders will be able to make it to the finish of this race. 7 to go. Ishibashi has lit a storm in that 33 car. Ford versus Toyota. Cat Devil Racing versus Team Impulse. 7 laps to go. Gap was 7/10. It's now 1.2 seconds. Ishibashi said it's time to go. Now 1.3 seconds for Ishibashi in favor over Artyom Kozlov. Valdez still holding on strong in that 3rd place as well. Five laps to go. And Artyom Kozlov has fallen off hard here. 1.8 seconds now the gap. Ishibashi has rocketed away with 5 laps to go. Remember, Ishibashi was one of the last ones to come down pit lane, so she had the freshest tires over the entire field. That was very clear. Here comes Lefty once again, entering the S's to get around Wyatt Jones. She's got the pace, just not the advantage track position-wise. Try to make some inroads here, because with Lefty, it's not just Wyatt Jones she's dealing with. She's dealing with the dirty air, the weight being produced by the 34 of Valdez and the 81 of Porter. So being the 4th car in line, even more miserable than before. 4 to go now as this group crosses our finish line. We had 3 retirements: Asher Crane, Bianca Lucero, and Alicia Kovalkiewicz. Kovalkiewicz out due to an engine failure. So 10th place grid drop for Kovalkiewicz going to Kentucky next weekend. Everyone else still rolling at this point. Hobson 3 laps down after missing the start due to a technical issue. They got that car refired and got it rolling. This is the battle for 3rd we're watching at the moment, with Valdez leading the way in that battle for 3rd. Through turn 9, now towards turn 10 through Thunder Valley. 11 now up the hill to 12 for that carousel. And now down the hill. 2:13 and across the start, 3 laps to go. There's Valdez, still trying to hold on. 2 seconds now the gap between Ishibashi and Kozlov. Ishibashi will take most last lap point out of this as well, 23 laps led. And it seems like Ishibashi's pretty well content with leading this one out and getting 26 laps led out of the 85 here in Mid-Ohio. Oh, look at this little battle here for the 5th spot. Lechty, and this will help out Porter a ton. Into the carousel, Lechty clears it. So Lechty ahead of Jones. This puts Lechty top 5, Jones in 6th with 2 to go. The move that Lechty was trying to do for several laps, finally to completion. Now if Wyatt Jones now Lechty's biggest cheerleader to try to move and get around Porter. Minimize the points loss as much as you can. Heading back towards the ovals with Kentucky in immediate vision. It's Kentucky, then Denver Motorsports Park, then Portland, before we get to Michigan International Speedway on July 4th weekend. With 2 laps to go, coming to the white flag, it will be for Sakura Ishibashi. Kozlov finally finding some response. But it will not be anywhere close to enough. Down the hill through 13, Sakura Ishibashi takes the white flag. 1 lap to go, presented by PNC Bank. That is Esther Hofson coming out of pit lane now. That could be a factor, but not for Ishibashi. One lap to go. Valdez with a little bit of clearing, a little bit of space between herself and Porter. Lechty in 5th, the best Chevrolet in the field as things stand on this final lap. Rolling through now towards the S's up from up the hill. Sakura Ishibashi, long time coming here in 2024. But she's gonna make it happen through the carousel of turn 12 and now down the hill through the last corner through turn 13 for the final time. Sakura Ishibashi is a winner at Mid-Ohio. She wins the Honda Grand Prix of Ohio ahead of Artyom Kozlov, who finishes 2nd. Mia Valdez holds on to finish 3rd ahead of Evangeline Porter, who extends her championship advantage. Nicole Lechty rounds out the top 5 after finishing 2nd in Chicago a week ago. Wyatt Jones, the Indianapolis 500 winner this year, rounds out the top 6. Simone LaRoe finishes 7th ahead of Catherine Hart. Matthias Michelin and Hazel Leon rounds out the top 10 ahead of Andrew Draco. Marcus Petrovich, one of his best finishes of the season in 12th ahead of Juliet Takani. BK Glover holds on to 14th ahead of Natalia Velisevich, who was side by side with Stephanie Porter Kelly at the end of that race. Elise Alexander in 17th. And Estadius von Sonnen holds on to 18th place over Cameron Jackson. There's Thomas Rogers staying in 20th place ahead of Shufan Zhang and Kage Kobayashi. Sakura Ishibashi, finally a race winner in 2024. Took 12 races, but she's done it. And maybe that will be the race that can help put the 33 car back on trajectory to battle for a championship and make up the deficit that was earned over the first 12 races this season. For Evangeline Porter, it is again not about podiums, consistency. Fourth place once again. Only one podium this season, all the way back in Texas. But it is enough to continue to expand the championship gap. As the field comes down pit lane, parked for May. Results running top of your screen. Outstanding race here in Mid-Ohio. We're glad to be back here in Northern Ohio for a race. We have plenty of racing to come next weekend. Friday night, it's the Champ Car Challenger Series from Kentucky Speedway. Toyota Dealers 300. Then we have the Quaker State 300 on Saturday night for the Champ Car World Series. Race 13 on the calendar to begin the second half of the 2024 campaign. 11 winners out of 12 races to kick off the season. It's been absolutely wild. We hope to see everyone next weekend for a lot more racing, some oval racing, some very high speed, high stakes competition in the Bluegrass State. On behalf of everyone here for ABN Studios, Horizon Corporation, and Champ Car in the World Series, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time from Kentucky. Stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the week ahead. So long, everybody.